I didn't plan for this at all, and you yourself knows that. I've always wanted only 2 kids and nothing more. So this additional one is what I don't want, unless you will be the one to take full responsibility of one. Because as for me, Chris, I am not interested. I take care of 2 kids and you take care of one. Unless that, count me out. I love you, Lucy, but I don't want 3 kids. Once upon a time, in a distant village in Africa, there lived Chris and Lucy. Chris and Lucy were lovers who seemed destined for a perfect life together. Their love story was the talk of the town. Friends and family admired their bond, seeing them as the ideal couple. Their respect for each other was mind-blowing. After a few years of dating, they decided it was time to get married. The wedding ceremony was grand and colorful, a day of joy and celebration with laughter. Music and dancing filled the air. Everyone present could see the love in their eyes as they exchanged their vows, promising to support each other through thick and thin. After the wedding, they moved to the city and into a small yet beautiful house they had bought. The house was spacious enough and everything they needed to make life easy was there. They both worked very hard in their respective jobs just to ensure a brighter future for themselves and their 2 unborn kids. Lucy and Chris had agreed to have only 2 kids, nothing more, nothing less. Ones they could comfortably take care of and give the best education. Chris worked diligently, ensuring they could afford a comfortable lifestyle. All his plans are just for 4 persons. He was a loving and caring husband, always putting his wife's needs ahead of his. Lucy, on her own part, was bringing a lot of financial support to the family. She believed that a man who treats his wife like a queen should be worshipped and treated like a king, and deserves pampering too. "Hey honey, I got you this," Lucy said one evening, handing him a small shopping bag to Chris. Chris smiling. "What is that?" he asked. "Your favorite brand of perfume and a new wristwatch." "Oh my baby, thank you. You are simply the best." It wasn't long when Lucy found out she was pregnant, their first child. Just the thought of being pregnant and being parents brought so much joy and excitement to them. They were so ready to take up the responsibility. The first trimester wasn't a rosy one for Lucy, as she kept getting ill frequently. So Chris suggested she quit her job, pending until when she delivers the baby. Lucy accepted, and Chris was an example of a supportive husband. He attended every doctor's appointment with her, made sure she eats right and sleeps right. As the months went by, they went shopping for their new addition together. They just couldn't wait for the baby's arrival. The day arrived when Lucy went into labor. Chris was by her side every step of the way, holding her hand and encouraging her through every contraction hours. Later, the baby boy was born. The room filled with the sound of his first cries, and tears of joy streamed down Chris and Lucy's face. "Welcome to the world, my baby," Chris said softly. "I will call you Eric." Chris held Lucy's hand. "Thank you so much for this gift of a son, baby." Everything felt complete. They had a lovely home, a handsome and cute son, and also each other. They believed nothing, absolutely nothing, could ever go wrong, that their love would conquer all challenges. After childbirth, Lucy could not go back to work as motherhood and its responsibility steps in. She requested that they get a help so she could go back to work, but Chris refused. He promised to make available anything they would need, she and their newborn Eric. They were not in a rush, so they took their time with Eric in training him, since they only wanted 2 children. 10 years later, Lucy got pregnant again. They were happy and eager for their arrival, especially Eric, who couldn't wait to play the big brother role. Chris was already planning and researching on the type of family planning to take after the birth of their second child. 7 months into the pregnancy, they were so excited to find out the sex of the baby, so they went for an ultrasound, which revealed that Lucy was carrying a set of twins. The news didn't go down well with Chris at all. This wasn't his plan. 3 kids? Oh, no, no, no. Chris changed from that day. The way he treats his wife and family changed. He never planned for 3 kids. He only wanted 2. The first, Eric, and assuming the second one was just 1. He started staying out late, always angry at Lucy for no just reason. So when Lucy confronted him, "Chris, why are you behaving strangely towards me, for God's sake? A twin is a blessing from God. I know we didn't plan this, but none of this is my fault, please. Chris, please stop being distant from us. Even your son noticed it a lot." Lucy begged. "See, Lucy, I didn't plan for this at all. I have always wanted only 2 kids for myself, and you know it. So this additional one is what I don't want. Unless you will be the one to take full responsibility of one, because as for me, my hands no dey there," Chris said. "Wait, Chris, you mean to tell me that you will accept one and reject one? What kind of a man rejects his kids? Chris, the kind that have plans and doesn't want it messed up. Lucy, I love you, but I don't want 3 kids." Chris said and left. That night, he didn't come home or bother to call. "Mommy, what is wrong? Why are you crying?" Eric asked Lucy, who was in the sitting room crying. "Oh, nothing, my darling. Mommy is just fine." "Why are you not sleeping yet?" Lucy asked Eric. "I will sleep, Mommy. We will sleep together." "Please, Mommy, why is Daddy always angry? And he doesn't play with me anymore." "Mommy, is Daddy angry with me? Did I do anything wrong?" No, Eric. Daddy is just going through some stress, some adult stuff. He's not angry with you, okay?" That night, Lucy could not sleep a wink. She remembered when their home was a happy home, when she had the best husband, the best out of the best. She prayed for God to touch her husband's heart. Things continued that way and even worse. The day of delivery arrived and Lucy was in labor. She tried calling Chris, but he didn't take her calls. Eric saw that his mother was in pain and ran out to call their neighbor, who took her to the hospital. Chris later came and paid the hospital bills. After 2 days, they were discharged. He didn't even bother to touch any of the twins or even take care of his nursing wife. In fact, he rarely come home. Lucy named the twins Alex and Alexandra, since it was a boy and a girl. After 2 weeks, he gave Lucy 50,000 naira one morning. He said he needed to travel for an important work, and that was the last time they heard from him. Chris abandoned his nursing wife, three kids with just 50,000 naira. Lucy tried to reach out to him, called his people to know his whereabouts, but all was fruitless. One morning, she received a message from Chris telling her to take care of the baby, that he would come back when he decided on what to do about the twins, but as for now, he is not ready to father three children. Lucy screamed out in tears. Her once happy home has been torn apart by what was supposed to be a blessing to them. "Mommy, why are you crying?" Eric asked, crying too. "Daddy left us, Eric. Your daddy left us all alone." Eric, with his little understanding, felt betrayed by his father. "Mom, it's okay." He hugged his mother tightly as they cried. Few days later, the diapers was almost finished. No food at home, and Lucy had to go out and look for a job or anything at all to survive. She would go out to hawk fruits, leaving Eric with the little Alex and Alexandra to take care of. She usually used the profit she made for the day to buy little foodstuffs until one hot afternoon, when tragedy struck. Lucy was hawking her fruits as usual and was hit by a reckless driver who did not have the decency to stop. He fled, leaving Lucy in the pool of her own blood. As Lucy was on the ground, she kept murmuring, "Eric, Alex, Alexandra," and those were her last words. She was rushed to the hospital. She tried. Oh, Lucy tried. She fought to stay alive for her kids, but death overpowered her. The doctor couldn't find the right word or the right way to break the news to young Eric, but they did eventually. When the news of Lucy's death reached Eric, his world crumbled. The sudden loss of his both parents left him feeling hopeless and terrified. He was only 10, yet the responsibility of caring for her twin siblings, Alex and Alexandra, fell squarely on his young shoulders. Eric sat down, confused and frustrated, as the twins cried for food and attention with no idea on where to start from and how. "Daddy, please come back. We need you now. Please," Eric murmured, tears streaming down his face. With no one else to run to, Eric begged the neighbors and strangers for food. Most people ignored him, while few gave some small amount of money. He used the little he could to get food and diapers for his siblings. Out of desperation, Eric begged for few more days, and he started hawking fruits with the same tray his mother used. Before he left for the day, he would say a small prayer. "Mommy and God, please help me make some sales today, and let no car knock me down too." These were usually his prayers every day. He would stand under the scorching sun, calling out to passing cars and passers-by, hoping to make enough money to feed Alex and Alexandra. It wasn't an easy one, but Eric was determined to keep them safe. At night, Eric would say another short prayer while he cried. "We miss you so much, Mommy. Please watch over us." Lucy's relatives wanted to take the three kids and split them into different locations, but Eric said no. He wants to stay together with his two siblings under one roof. He pleaded with them to take all of them in, but they said no. "The three of you can't stay in one house, Eric. I have my own children too, and taking three of you would be too much for me to handle." I can only afford to take one. Your uncle will take one of the twins, and you will go stay with grandma in the village. Eric refused to give up on his siblings. He learned to navigate the markets, haggling for better prices on baby supplies, became resourceful way more than his age. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Eric carried a burden too heavy for his age. He found solace in the laughter of the twins, their giggles, their first walk, and that alone gave him strength to keep going. Every day was a struggle, but he survived. He managed to get a small spot by the roadside where he kept the fruits and no more hawking. Years later, the twins turned 3. Eric knew it was time for them to start school, despite their financial situation. He wanted them to have the education that he gave up on. One Sunday evening, as they sat outside their compound, "Alex, you are going to school soon, and you too, Alexandra," he announced. The twins were so happy. He enrolled them in a small school that he could afford, not far from their house because of transportation. Walking them to school was always a proud moment for Eric. Eric felt a mix of pride and sadness. He sacrificed his own education to provide for them, and seeing them take their first steps towards a better future made it all worthwhile. To support their schooling, Eric worked tirelessly during the day. Every time he felt like giving up, he reminded himself of the smiles on Alex and Alexandra's faces and the promise of a better future for themselves. His sacrifices were never unnoticed by the twins. They often helped him with chores around the house and were diligent in their studies, knowing how much it meant to Eric. They looked up to him as a father and promised to make him proud and also take care of him. Years passed, and the twins were now 10 and Eric was 20. They had grown into bright, cheerful boy and girl. Thanks to Eric's dedication and love, he had managed to provide for them despite the odds. After school, Alex and Alexandra also helped Eric out with the fruit business, which was now a bit bigger. One Sunday evening, which was their resting day, a man who looked older walked up to them, and it was Chris, their father. "Eric, my son." Eric recognized that face instantly. He asked Alex and Alexandra to go inside immediately. "I am sorry, Eric. Please forgive your father. I am back now to make amends. You left us, Daddy, without looking back. Mommy died because of you, and now you come back after so many years." "To do what exactly, Daddy? You never wanted us then, and now we don't want you," Eric said and went inside. Alex and Alexandra tried to find out who the man was, but Eric told them he was nobody important. Chris kept on visiting the house, the shop, seeking for forgiveness. The guilt was eating him raw. He has been suffering from regret and guilt for years since he heard the news of Lucy's death. He blamed himself for her death. He left her for what was not her fault. Since then, he has been living in guilt, and if being hated by his own kids is the price he had to pay, then so be it. Even though he vowed to continue asking, no matter how long it will take, until he earns their forgiveness, he doesn't mind. Alex and Alexandra graduated from school, got a job, and made a decision to expand Eric's fruit business into a big fruit and smoothie lounge, and also make him go back to school. "You are the best father, Eric," Alexandra said, hugging him from behind tightly. and the best brother ever, Alex said. Eric was in tears as he hugged them. I love you both so much and thank you for making me proud, Eric said. He looked up the sky and whispered, Thank you, Mommy. We survived. Eric decided to tell them of their father, whom they never knew. He told them about how he left and now that he is back. He told them that the decision to forgive him is solely dependent on them.